When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by everyone. Me. If the sky come on, just to make sure we're all good to go for today. So you guys come on in. What's up with Nomia? Hey, lady. You guys go out and tell somebody to join us tonight. What's up, Gloria? Stand by me. Stand by me. You guys can hear me okay? Oh, thanks, Glory. You can hear me okay? All right. What else we got going on tonight? Woo! Y'all know nothing about that right there. Woo! Whatever you want to do is all right with me. You make me feel good. Hey, my friend. You know who I'm talking to. So you guys go out and tag someone and share with them to join us tonight. Don't want to miss our conversation. We've got a great guest tonight. Thank you, Fuller baby. Let y'all enjoy the music. Be right back. I just came to see is all I see. Is what I want to do. You want to stay loving you well. I'm just going back and say, let's see who's that. Sorry. Uh-oh. Y'all remember Tracy Chapman? My goodness. Where are they now? We're going to get started in just a few minutes. What's up, Imelda? Welcome back from Jamaica, baby. Oh, the Bahamas. Maybe it's the Bahamas. Forgive me. All that you can say is done by and still words don't come easily. Like forgive me, forgive me. Okay, I had enough of Tracy Chapman and I have to move that along. So I'm gonna have to go on. Hey, what's going on? Oh yeah. We got 2 minutes, you guys. And then we're gonna get started. Can everybody sing this in the background? What's up, Angela? I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit because I am actually ready to get started. I am so excited about our conversation tonight. And I know you guys don't see my sidekick, Quincy Fuller. And that's because this is ladies' night. And so we're gonna do it. I see, I got you. So we're gonna do it a little bit different tonight. This is gonna be between me and my girl tonight. And so we get a chance to chat it up. Good evening, Gwendolyn and Ronald and all the people that have come tonight. Y'all share this with someone, invite them, text them, tell them to join. I hear Ronald now saying, okay. And so look, you guys, it's a little bit warmer here. We go from cold to hot to cold to hot. So, but I am so excited tonight to get our GodFidence going. Fuller has given me the floor and he said, babe, I think this is a good time for you and our guest to chat it up tonight. And so she was expecting to have a duo like she normally does. He'll be back next week. But tonight, because we talked about so much, look, you guys, our guest tonight, before I even go there, because I was about to get started and everything, but our guest tonight is someone that many of you are familiar with. Some may not know, but tonight you get a chance to experience just such a beautiful soul, a person that we've known, Fuller and I've known forever. I've known probably just at a distance for the last, let's just say 20 years. And I know she's gonna say, really? Yes, it's been about 20 years. I've been at World Changers now for about 20, oh my gosh, 25 years. So I think it's actually been longer than that. But it hasn't been until recently that I've gotten a chance to chat with her. And so, but I'm not going to belabor the conversation because I just got to bring her on because you guys look here. And then she fly too. Come on through. This is my girl. My girl from the song you guys just heard. This is none other than Pastor Deborah Powe. And I'm not going to tell, look, hey. And so I'm not going to tell where you're from. And I want tonight to be our night that we're just chatting it up. We spent some time on the phone over the weekend, and we were just talking, and we started getting into some deep conversations. So I was like, okay. And so we're going to start with Deborah Powe. And let me say this to you guys. Now, for many of those that know Deborah Powe or Pastor Powe, Pastor Deborah, however you refer to her tonight, because I'm having this conversation with my friend is what I'm going to call her. Mm-hmm. I am going to refer to her if she will allow me to. Now, we know the titles, you guys. We know the titles. But when she and I are talking on the phone, we're calling each other Deborah, Darlene. You know, I may go back to Pastor Powe. Yeah. I switch out. So, but out of respect, I want to make sure you guys know that we respect the woman of God, but we also are friends and becoming friends. And certainly Fuller has been knowing Deborah Powe forever and a day.
Yes, right? Definitely. Yes.
And so tell us about you, just what, okay, so let's do this. Tell us where you are from.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Atlanta, but I moved to, I was born and raised, in Atlanta. And I moved to Tampa in 1990. So I've been here like over 30 years. So now they call me a Tampanian, of course, but whatever. I'm Georgia.
Right. So
but I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, I am. So I'm in Florida now. That's my background.
Look, y'all see the background. Look, she's trying to show it off now. She is showing it off. So is that a pool back there? Is that the lake or is that the beach? Or
actually, that's my front yard.
Come on through.
That's my front yard. Yes.
Okay. We're looking for some water. Maybe I just need to.
We're looking for some water. I do. There's a lot of water in Florida, but we would look at them and go, "Oh, those are lakes," but in actuality, they're ponds. They're just large ponds. But we, I'm close to the beach, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, so I'm near water.
So you were originally a part of World Changers. You started out in World Changers, okay?
I did. As a matter of fact, how about we started with Dr. Dollar at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in a Bible study.
Okay.
That's how I got to know him. And so when he decided to start World Changers Ministries, there were 8 people, and my husband and I were part of the 8 people.
You were already married then?
I was already married. As a matter of fact, felt so old. We were the oldest couple in the church.
Really?
I mean,
okay.
Yes.
You don't look old now. Look.
Well, thank you. But we were the oldest couple in the church.
And so you guys met in Atlanta?
No.
Or in college?
I met in college. I left Atlanta and went to University of South Alabama. And that's where I met my husband. That's where
Alabama.
I met Alabama boy, yeah.
Okay. We'll leave that one alone. Okay. And so, but I assume you watched the game. But anyway, we're not going to go to that conversation. Yeah. Let Fuller tell the whole story. Fuller be like, okay, Alabama, Georgia, we got our little.
I know. I'm going to get into it. I hadn't quite gotten into it like everybody else. I mean, it's entertainment for me.
Yes. Okay. Well, good. So you were at Shiloh, and you guys met. Y'all were serving under Dr. Dollar.
Right. Initially, we were serving under Pastor Carter, and then Dr. Dollar was like, "Okay, guys, God has told me to start a church," and we were like, "Hey, we're going with you."
Oh.
And so when he started the church in Kathleen Mitchell Elementary School, Greg and I, we were right there. So it was like, okay, so that's when he put me over intercessory prayer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was the first one
Uh-huh.
to do intercessory over intercessors at World Changers Ministries.
So, but your background is in what?
My business.
Yes, business. Okay, good.
Business. I worked for a company called MIC at the time.
Uh,
It was a branch of General Motors.
huh?
Um, yes. I worked there for 19 years before resigning to start Revealing Truth Ministries, which we started the church after being at World Changers for 5 years from
Okay.
the beginning of the ministry, and we were there for 5 years, and then we. Um, made the decision, not made the decision, or God moved us
Yeah.
to Tampa, Florida. Yep.
Okay. And so, but I understand that your husband Greg Powe was the praise and worship leader at
Yes, he
World Change.
was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And boy, that was that
Is he
was
a
funny.
singer?
Mm,
No. Okay.
no, couldn't sing, but he actually could get people to really praise God. He just
Wow.
he took some singing lessons they didn't take,
Uh,
but
uh,
but he loved God. He loved
uh,
God, and so he would lead people in praise and worship. It was like, okay, I'm going to say the first three words, and
uh,
then everybody else come
follow
along
suit.
with me and
Uh,
follow suit. But he would just praise God by dancing and just, I mean, spinning around, and people
really.
just got all into it, just watching his excitement.
Wow. And
So
was that something different for you to see him in that capacity, or he has always just kind of been a praise and worshiper?
well,
Okay.
okay. See,
Some
this
days
was
Pastor
new.
Dollar just
This
put you
okay,
over.
okay. Let me say this was new for my husband because when we moved, I met him in school in Alabama, and so we were married for 7 years.
Uh,
Uh, and the first 4 years, I would say, was not so great. And
uh,
so I took a transfer back home to Atlanta with my job,
uh,
and so he came along with me. So he was not saved. He was not saved when we got born
oh,
again. So that's why I was like, was he always a praise and worshiper? No.
okay.
uh, he so yes. Um, so we when we got married, like I said, the first 4 years was just really it was a nightmare.
Okay.
So, but then we
Because
moved.
yeah, and I'm going to say this because a lot of people believe, especially single people and even married people, were like,
Mhm.
it's going to be so roses, and there's going to be stars and stripes, and there's going to be
Mhm.
music, there's going to be violins and hearts dropping from the
Mhm.
sky, and oh my gosh, it's going to be beautiful.
I thought the same thing, but it didn't take very long for me to discover that that wasn't going to be happening. Let me see. How
Wow.
long did it take? Few weeks.
Into the marriage.
Yep.
And and I'm glad you're sharing that because someone that's listening will probably say they've just gotten married and they're like, what happened? What happened
Mhm.
to that
Mhm.
feeling?
Mhm.
And then they may not know that song, You Lost That Love and Feeling, but they lose it right away. But they're
Right.
thinking, oh, what's happened to our relationship?
Exactly.
So for those that are
Exactly.
joining us tonight, you're just tuning in. I am speaking to none other than Pastor Deborah Powe. Some of you may know her and others may not know, but Deborah Powe, her and her husband, Greg Powe, they are the pastors, or she now is the pastor of True. I'm gonna let you pick up from there. The name of your
Right.
church.
Okay, it's Revealing Truth Ministries.
Okay.
Yes, we came down, pastored the church, and for those who don't know, we were pastoring the church for like 30 years, and then Greg passed. He transitioned in 2017, and so my children, which I have 4 children, my 4 children, all married. We, just we made a decision that we just would move forward. That was the succession
Yeah.
plan, anyways. So we were pastoring 3 churches, and I was teaching in one of the churches, sometimes two of the churches, just depending on what was going on. He mostly taught in the main church in Tampa, but on Sundays, I would be at two different churches
Uh-huh.
teaching. And so, and you know, in retrospect, you understand why all that stuff took place, because this season was coming
Right.
and I needed to be confident in who I was and my teaching skills and that type of thing. And he had me before people so that when he transitioned, it was like, okay, it wasn't crazy to them to see me standing
Yeah, but he
there.
wasn't sick. He wasn't
He wasn't
ill.
he wasn't sick, he wasn't ill, and I'm telling you, I thought, what in the world happened?
Right.
Because I was told, I called the doctor and asked him what happened, and the doctor that was on duty told me. She said, well, he had a heart attack. And I said, I don't understand, because he had just maybe like 3 weeks before gone to see a heart specialist and they told him he was fine.
That's something
So
that's why they call it practicing medicine, because
medicine,
they don't know everything that's going on in our bodies. And we can go to the doctor as much as we want, but when it's the time happens. And so there are some people that have probably wondered what did happen to Pastor Powe. And I'm glad you and I get a chance to talk about it tonight, because this is their time to really hear from you on, they get to learn about who you are, and that
yeah.
transition, like my story, or different than my story. We both
Hmm.
are were widows. You are
Right.
still a widower, and I've
Hmm.
been a widower for like 8 years, and really didn't know how to maneuver with life. I mean, life was just coming at me so many different ways.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
didn't know, you go from, you can relate to this. You go from being a married person 1 minute, and then you turn around and you go to sleep and you wake up and you're like, what just happened? In fact, I don't know if this
Yeah.
happened. It probably did happen with you too, where you want to pick up the phone. You're thinking of something like, oh my gosh, let me pick up the phone and call.
Yes, that was interesting, because I believe it probably maybe it was 2 weeks 2 weeks after, because our family always eats dinner on Sunday morning together. I mean, not Sunday morning, Sunday evenings together after church. Everyone comes to our house. Been doing it for years. My children, their spouses, all the kids, and would come and we would have dinner. Well, we went out to dinner that particular Sunday, and somebody did something that was goofy or funny, and I immediately grabbed my phone
Uh,
to pick up the phone to call Greg. And I picked it up and I thought, oh,
wow.
okay. This moment is just between us.
Right, right,
There's no one else to share it with. And I recall one day getting off work and thinking, oh man, I gotta get home,
right.
dinner. And I
Uh,
thought, oh, that's right. You can go anywhere you want to go. You don't have to go home for dinner. I'd long stopped cooking though. My children were out of the home, so
uh,
Greg and I went out to eat all the time.
okay.
So my mind was thinking, where are we going to eat? Where are we going to eat? And then I thought, oh, that's right. Hmm, I
Wow.
can just eat wherever I want to eat. And so I just kind of took it pretty much one day at a time, because that's the only thing you have is one
Right.
day at a time. Um, with me, because of the three churches, it didn't take very long before I was actually back in the pulpit,
Uh,
probably a week and a half,
how,
a
how,
week and a half.
how do you
Oh,
do that? How do you go from, losing a spouse? And I'm gonna tell
hmm.
you my story behind that too. Losing a spouse very suddenly,
Hmm.
the way you found Pastor Poe, to now all these things, from church here, church there, kids, uh, church members, family members. How do you come to grips with how life is going to drastically change?
Yes, it did. One of the interesting things that happened with me is this. Um, we were teaching on transition and how to
Oh,
handle transition. That was the last message he taught. And I was teaching on transition as well. So we had already gone through the steps of when something happens. Either you made a decision to cause a change to take place, or life just happened to you. What are the stages? What do you go through? What happens? How do you get back up from such a thing as that? Now, little did I know I was about to put this all into action, but it was something that was being taught for, I think, probably about 3 weeks. We've been teaching
wow.
on transition and how to handle transition. So for me, the first question in my mind was, okay, God, what does this mean?
Wow.
Um, what does this mean as far as what you want me to do now? Because Greg and I already talked about also our children, because my children are adults. Our children, what their part would be in ministry, and we were always telling them about what you're gifted to do, what we believe we see you're going to be doing. We see you guys doing this together, and we'd already talked about those things. So for me, I just wanted to know, okay, so how do I step into what just happened?
All right. So
And
let me ask, go ahead and finish, Deborah.
no, I just wanted to know, how do I step into what just happened? So that was really on the forefront of my thinking. I know it may sound maybe crazy to people, but when Greg passed, I was trying to resuscitate him. I came home. I was at work and I came home, and he was laying down, and I realized wait a minute, he's not moving. So I'm trying to
Laying down
resuscitate.
in bed, or he was praying?
And so, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'm just coming in the house. I was on the phone talking to my oldest son at the time. And when I came in, I was trying to resuscitate him. And then I was starting to panic because I wasn't getting any response. So I stopped and just said, be calm. And I said, Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
what should I do? And this is what he said to me. He said, it's over. And I just got up, and my son had already called 911 because I was on the phone with him. And so I remember walking to the back of my house and looking out the windows at I told you, a pond. And
Right.
I just said, I really saw my children right in front of me. And I said, are you ready? Are you ready?
You-
And
Now that
so
you asked them that question, were you ready?
um, I wasn't thinking so much about me being ready. I was concerned about them being ready for
Yeah.
what was next.
Yeah.
And so that's, so my mind just, I guess I don't even know how to explain it, except for I tell people it was God. It was people praying for me. My mind just really started to think more on the pastor side,
Uh-huh.
because there were a lot of hurt people. There were a lot of hurt people. When I say they were hurt, there were
Yeah.
people that could not even come into the sanctuary. They couldn't even come into the building. They would get to the building and break down crying and couldn't step foot in. And so my heart went out to them. And we found as a family that we were ministering more to our people, our congregation, friends, more than them ministering to us.
Yeah.
So for me, it was different on account of I had these people. And interestingly enough, I would go home and God would give me all these messages to teach to them, to help the people. And
Mhm.
so I was occupied that way. Let me put it that I was occupied that way. And I would just, because I still was working, so I would go in and I would
Yeah.
work
Uh,
because there were things that needed to be taken care of. I wasn't trying to do a whole lot of heavy stuff,
mhm.
but when I would go home, I would just grab my Bible, I would start reading it, I'd get these messages, and I would be so exhausted I'd just fall asleep.
So you did stay in the house for some period of time.
I did. I did for, let's see, probably 2 months. Let's see, March, April, May. Um, yeah, for 2 months, because my oldest son, has started a church in Fort Myers.
Um,
And so he came back to help. And so when he came back, I lived in such a large house. My children, like I said, they were all grown and gone, but we still had the house. So I was in a 8,000 square foot house. So it was like, yeah.
right.
So I was like, okay, why don't y'all move in with me? So
Mhm.
they did. So he moved in, had two children. His wife was pregnant, had another son while we were there. And I actually didn't move out of the house to the next year.
Okay. So did moving out of the house was one thing. For
Hmm.
me, I still live in the same house, which is one thing that I immediately did was I changed my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone come in and redo the room, paint,
Exactly.
changed the room around, took out all of the items. Now, I will say, after
Yeah.
the incident happened with my late husband, I slept in the bed. I don't know what piece came up on me. I, I was operating on a pilot. I didn't know how to go about life, so I was just living, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, but what was next then for you? Did you? At what point do you decide? You know what? Yes, you're going to go to work. I also went back to work immediately, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I went back. And I'm going to ask you this question. I went back to work, and I was still grieving, and I know it because I was a little bit snappy.
Oh.
Right, because I did, because people were asking, and I was hurt, I was bitter, I was trying to figure out. At the time, my kids were smaller, so they were
Mm-hmm.
6 and 7, or 5 and 6, and so that was
Right.
different. So, um, so then, what is your next step? What are you thinking about from here? Yes, the church needs help. They need
Mm-hmm.
prayer. They need you. They need to see
Mm-hmm.
that you're strong. Did you find that you needed to be stronger than you could be, or that you were just always, that's just your nature to be strong
You
or to
know,
appear
let me tell
strong?
you, let me tell you something that happened. Um, that previous week, Pastor Taffy had a women's conference. And that's when she first started talking about gender roles and that type of thing. And so I came back and I told Greg, I said, Greg, I feel stronger. I feel more prepared to do ministry than I have ever felt before in my life. And he was like, Deborah, that is good. And he was encouraging me. He was like, don't let nobody stop you. And you got it. You can teach, you can preach, you can minister, you can do. And he was just encouraging me
Right.
that weekend. So I don't think I was actually on autopilot per se in some respects, because I knew I had to teach, and I had to minister. I knew that's what I needed to do. Although we did have other pastors there, but I just felt like it was something that I needed to do. I wasn't trying to be strong for other people. Let me tell you that now. I
Right.
really wasn't. Um, I was doing what I felt like God wanted me to do and what God was instructing me to do. Um, and that's how I did it. I tell people sometimes, I said, God wasn't really easy on me concerning some things.
Right.
Because whenever I was trying to have a pity party, because and this is crazy, because some of the stuff I was doing, is this the way I'm supposed to act? Is this what
Right.
people expect from me? Is this what? And I couldn't figure that part, I couldn't figure out, because um for real, I can't not explain it except it was God. People would ask me how I was doing, and I honestly was doing good.
Yeah.
And but it was, I know people say you're just deep. You can call me whatever you want to call me. All I know is people's prayers were being answered, and I was stronger than I thought I would probably be in a situation like this. And I had a joy, and God wouldn't let me like just lay around. He's like, no, you need to get up and you need to go walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was like, oh man, ah, God left, Greg left me here by myself. God, quick, quick. He says, no one left you anywhere. I planted you. I
Yeah.
mean, he was quick, just saying things to me, I guess, because he knew what was ahead of me. And I guess, it's like, you don't have time to do whatever it is you're trying to do. And
Right.
so I just did whatever God told me to do every day.
Good.
Honestly, whatever he said do, I did it. Even with my move, I was looking for a house the whole time.
Mhm.
My son moved out, and so when he moved out, I'd already bought a house. I
Okay.
had moved. I had moved in it, and I got up one morning, and God said, "Move," and I said, "Okay." He said, "Today."
Wow.
I called my son. I said, God told me to move today, so I've got to go. So I went on the hunt trying to find furniture for at least one bedroom in this new house that I bought.
What
And
do you feel like
so,
you had to go, like, right now?
you know what? I don't even know why he told me to go right now, other than the fact that he wanted me to respond to him quickly.
Yeah.
I believe that. So he was just like, And again, I don't want to seem like I'm super spiritual, because none of this stuff was happening every day. Just like in the Bible, we read stuff, we think that Moses had a burning bush experience every day. I didn't have a burning bush experience every day. Also, what happened to me is I got ill. I was ill. And so doing the church and being ill, because I got something they call H. pylori.
Okay.
And it was causing me to lose weight. And people were thinking she's losing weight because she's stressed. I'm like, no, that is not what's going on. So I'm like, God, I'm literally fighting for my life here. I'm losing weight. The doctors can't tell me what's going on. They don't know. And I was like, God, something's got to give. This is crazy. And then finally, I went in and they were talking to me, and they said, I forgot. They sent me to a heart doctor. They sent me to nerve doctors. I mean, they just sticking me doing all kinds of stuff. And finally, I went in and I said, I'm not going to another heart doctor. I'm not going to any other specialist. There's something going on. It's not what you're saying. And that's when, because H. pylori you can only diagnose it through breath. You have to breathe into this bag, because otherwise they don't know you have it.
Uh-huh.
And so I did that, came back 3 days, and they were like, hey, you got to take these 3 very, very strong narcotics, is what they call them, in order to get rid of it. It's an overgrowth of bacteria.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah. So I was doing the church, but also I'm like, God, what's happening to my health? So it was almost like I don't have time to even think about
grieving.
With breathing. I'm doing this. But nonetheless, like I said, God was he just wouldn't let me. He just would not let me go down. And still to this day, he still won't let me go down certain roads. It's like, Deborah, stop it.
Right. Yeah.
Just stop
Don't bring it up. Just let's go.
Yeah, let it go. Let it go.
So. We are actually close to, we're just chatting like it, and the time just has gone by so fast. So I'm going to ask you this question, but I don't want you to answer it. Okay. This is for part 2. Next week, we're going to do part 2 of this conversation.
Okay.
When did you, no, I'm not going to ask you that yet. I would like for you to share with the widower that had maybe just lost their spouse. Deborah, you'd be so surprised. Maybe you're not surprised. I guess I've been surprised. I meet more people now that have lost their spouse, and I feel like I've become the poster child for people who've lost their spouse. And not in a bad way. I'm thankful that I've gone through the process, and now I can tell my story.
Right.
But what would you say to the person that has lost their spouse? I mean, your story is not going to be their story. Your journey won't be theirs. It won't be the same. They don't have the same, maybe the faith to believe that they're able to move forward. But what would you say to the man or woman that's going through this?
You know what? That's really interesting, because I believe I've become the poster child too. I literally, everyone that I know that it happens to, I have even written to people that you don't know me, but I believe I can help you through whatever you're going through, because I want you to understand that you can breathe. And I think I mentioned this to you. What I do know is that God did not remove the promises out of the word of God.
Yeah.
He didn't. The promises are still mine, whether I'm an individual or whether I'm married. That was the first thing I had to tell myself.
Yeah.
God promised me. He promised me that he would give me peace. He promised me a good life. This good life I thought was going to be with Greg, but obviously not.
Right.
So, God, I'm looking for the good life. I'm looking for the good life. And that if God gives me peace, he'll give you peace. If God give you joy, he'll give everybody joy. And we all have to start recognizing that. And I understand everybody's not on the same spiritual level. That is true. But God is so good and God is so loving. He really don't care what level you're on.
Right.
He'll come to your rescue. He really, really will. And I mean, look at you guys.
I know.
Look at you guys.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to keep going and tell our story. That's why we're doing this the StreamYard or this Facebook Live, because we get a chance to live the life that neither one of us those that maybe they're new to even watching me and Fuller, that Fuller lost his spouse as well. And
Right.
but my question to you, because now it is 6:31 and we've got
Oh
part two
no.
coming up. No. But I get to ask you this question, but you cannot answer because this will be our conversation for next week. And we
Okay.
may still have to chat it up privately, because I don't know if Fuller will be like, look, y'all doing really good without me. But so when did you know when it was time to take off the ring? Thank you for joining tonight. You have been so great, and I'm so honored to have you join me. I'm so honored that you felt comfortable with our conversation to even go into some of the intimate details. Not everybody will even ask a Deborah Powe or Darlene
Mhm.
Quincy Fuller, how did that happen? What happened?
Yeah.
Because we're so scared to say, they're tiptoeing around us, but it's okay.
Mhm.
They
It
can,
really is
right.
okay.
Yeah, and so I would like for you to share the next in part two. When was the time to take off the ring? Is
Okay.
there time to start? Are you thinking about dating? What's your next? I mean, you bought a new house, and so how have men been approaching you? Have you gone out on dates? We're gonna talk about it all, but you can't answer none of it now. The time
Okay.
is we're at the
Okay.
very end. And we have had such a great time. You guys, if you guys want for us to talk about anything particular, especially those that are widowers, post it in the chat. We'll come back next week.
Yeah.
Pastor Poe, she will be glad to answer those questions, because
Yes.
this Godfidence is about us having Godfidence or confidence in God and not ourselves. And so
Yeah.
our goal is to really, I love what you have been just sharing about the words that we say. Out of the abundance of
Mhm.
the heart, the mouth begins to speak. And I'm so grateful that you had the word already on the inside, so you knew how to respond. And so, but next week, we're going to continue our conversation. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm trying to get me a little song to go on out of here tonight. But look, thank you guys. And you know where I'm headed, Deborah Powe. I'm about to get ready to
Yes.
go to flute lessons or
Yeah.
orchestra practice. And so you guys, thank y'all for joining us. And thank you,
Yes.
Deborah Powe. We look forward to seeing you next week.
I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
I don't know what this is, and I'm playing, but come on. Come on, Bruno Mars. We love to have fun.
Yes,
I don't
indeed.
have to be sad. Okay.
Oh, you don't have to be sad. That's the truth. You don't have to be sad.
All right. Deborah Powe, I gotta go. I
All
gotta
right.
go. I gotta go.
See you
See
later.
you next
Enjoyed
time.
it. Enjoyed
Thanks,
it.
Greg, for
Enjoyed
helping your
it.
mama out. See you guys next week, same
Okay.
time. Godfidence, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there, or 5 p.m. Central Time. Oh, that's what this is.
All righty then.
Look, yes. Just the way you are. All right, you guys. See you later. Take care.